We make rulers, we make templates, we make a lot of things. We make cutting mats. Um, you probably know us best now for the machine quilting templates, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to try and get through the facts you need to know. There's a couple of opinions in there, but I'll primarily the facts you need to know to machine quilt with templates. Now, the first one, and you've noticed that I call them templates. That is because those are rulers. You measure with a ruler. You don't measure with templates. And you are in my way. Hold on, I gotta move something. There we go. These are templates. You don't measure with them. So that is why I call them templates and everybody else calls them rulers, because I'm the only one that manufactures templates and rulers. And it got to be called rulers because the very first template out there for the long armors, and they're the ones that started this, was actually a ruler. So, it's kind of like Kleenex. They're really tissues, and Xeroxing things, you're really copying things. I'm bound and determined to get everybody to get them, call them templates. But let's go on to the rest of this. Um, Real quick, with a show of hands, how many of you guys are long armors? And how many of you are long armors? Do I have any long armors in here?
Yes, on a sit down.
Okay. All right. Um, Anybody on a stand-up long arm? Anybody? Okay, then that means we'll just go through a couple of things real quick. If you're on a stand-up long arm, you need what's called an extended base because you need to support the templates when you're using them. But the vast majority of you are on a sit-down machine. You may find that you want to use what we call an add-a table. So Steady makes a wish table. I know there's a couple of other people out there who make them. Why do you want that? Well, if you have a straight, pretty flat table that comes with your machine, and I'm thinking the FOF and the Jukies, both have very flat tables that come with their machines. That's fine. But like Bernina and Brother, they put out a table that is actually curved, okay, which is great for piecing and great even for free motion quilting. Not so great for using templates because you want the flat surface to keep your template and give it a support. If your table has a curve to it, when you are coming along and using it, you're going to find the template is going to flip up on you, and that can cause problems. So you do want to look at putting some type of table if the table that comes with your machine is not already very flat. The next thing you have to have is a ruler foot. So this is the one that confuses people the most. You can't use a free motion foot. It's thin. Can't use a walking foot. You can't use an open-toed foot. Can't use an oval foot. Can't use a couching foot. It has to be a ruler foot. And is my mouse showing when I do this? I'm circling the ruler foot right now. Okay, that's a ruler foot. These all are not going to do what a ruler foot is. A ruler foot is a ½ inch wide from outside edge to outside edge, and it is round and it is thick or tall walled. These are all important things. You have to have a round foot. If you were to take an oval foot around a circle, you would not stitch a circle. You would stitch an oval. Same for an open toe foot, same for a square or rectangular foot. Only a circle repeats the template exactly. So, ruler feet. Primarily up there is long arm feet, but you will notice they are all round and they are all thick or tall walled. So what I mean by that is right here. They are thick or tall wall. Now this one, number 8 right here, is the one that broke it open for the home machine market. This is a Westerly design ruler foot. They got tired. Excuse me, guys. I have a sinus infection that is causing my voice to get low. Um, We'd all been asking for a ruler foot for the home machines so that we could do what the long armers were already doing. And I've been in the long arm market since almost the very beginning when templates were being used. And the manufacturers kept saying, yeah, it's on our project list. Well, it was a back burner project. The minute Westerly Design came out with this foot, Boom, every single one of those back burner projects got moved to the front project. So now what we have is a variety of templates, of feet that you can use. If anybody has an APQS or a Gamma or a Tin Lizzie, please stay on afterwards and we'll talk about those feet. So to move forward with that, what happened is they don't know how to measure. They thought they had a 1/2 inch foot until I took a micrometer to it and found out they weren't. So they had to put different feet in. In the case of Handy Quilter, which is also a mega quilter and Baby Locks tiaras, that foot on top is the foot that comes with the machine. It is adequate for template work. However, those of us who worked on the templates really got uncomfortable with them. They considered it a bit thin. So Handy Quilter came out with the Sure Foot. And so if you're not comfortable using templates with this foot, you can get the Sure Foot, and it will also fit the tiara and the baby lock tiara and the Viking Mega Quilter. Like I said, if you have a Tin Lizzie, see me afterwards. Bernina was the first to come out with a ruler foot, and they really had one heck of an impetus to come out with that ruler foot. The problem when you're working with machine quilting and templates, you want to work with your needle down so that it stops in the needle down position. And why is that? Because when you move the template, you don't want your fabric moving. Okay, so you're going to move the template, but you want your fabric to stay exactly where it is. So you keep the needle down every time you stop. Well, sometimes people were accidentally hitting the raised foot, and it was causing breakage of the needle bar. So they came out and fixed it real fast. If you are on a home machine, you want the number 72 or the 72S. They've put a slit in it. If you're on one of the long arms, you want the 96. So the second one to come out with it was Baby Lock. So now you'll see that I've got it listed as a high shank and a low shank. Remember that. We're going to come back to that, okay? As long as I'm talking about feet, I want to talk about, look how straight this edge is right here, and this edge is right here. Okay, look at the curve that is on these 2 feet. Now, one of them is an over the market foot, and one of them, well, they're both an over the market foot. So they're not a brand name foot for a machine. They're not manufactured by a machine. I'm not saying you can't use the feet. What I'm saying is be aware that anytime there is a curve, it makes it that much easier for a template to slide underneath the foot. With the straight edge that's right there, it's a lot less likely to happen. And you will note, and it's not as likely to happen on this one, but you will notice this spring here on all 3 of these. That means the odds are that foot is going to hop, either a little bit or a lot. Now, Bernina put this little brass wheel in it so that you can lower and raise the foot as much as you are comfortable. I personally keep it all the way down, but I have had my foot get on top of my template more than once. And so that is why I'm cautious about that, and I do that. You neither want the foot to go underneath the template nor the template to go underneath the foot. And if you think about it, you are running a foot along the edge of a template, and there's going to be some pressure there, especially when you're in circles. And you don't want to make it easier for either one to go in the wrong spot, okay? So, again, I'm not saying you can't buy these. I'm saying be aware of what you've got. So you can see how they're all of these feet. This is a low shank. This is a medium shank. These 2 are high shanks. That's a high shank. Janome, for those of you who may have a Janome machine, you may already have the foot because they have that converter to free motion, and then you want this foot right here that came in this package. Although I am understanding a lot more of their quilting machines have got specific ruler feet for them, so talk to your dealers. For instance, this one is a Memory Craft, and it has a specific foot. Elna looks a lot like the Janome. That's because it is made in the same factory. Juki has its own foot as well, but there is a different foot for their pro machines versus their home machine. And when it comes to the high shank and low shank, what is important is the clearance that you get right here. And this spot right here on some machines actually drops lower. And that's why I teach people how to figure out what is right thickness for their machine. Pfaff and Viking were the last two to come out with their own foot. They had the nice innovation of the ordinals painted in red, which is kind of nice. So if I haven't listed you off, you don't have your own foot. The manufacturer is not making a foot for your machine. This includes Brother, White, Kenmore. There's a couple of others in there. Netchi still hasn't made one. If you can't find your own ruler foot, if the manufacturer doesn't make one, you can use Westerly Designs ruler foot, or you can use, this is Clarity. It is Accents on Design. And if you want to look for that, just let me know and I'll send you the link. It is a clear foot. And the advantage to this is it makes it really easy to use template work and then go to free motion and template work and not switch out a foot, because you want to be able to see what's going on all around your quilt. But this is an option. If your manufacturer makes the foot, I highly recommend you use it. So now let's talk about high shank and low shank. Bernina machines are high shank machines. Some baby locks are high shank and some are low shank. And why does it matter? Well, I have asked that question and I've never really gotten the answer I like. And so I quit asking, because it doesn't really matter why some machines are high shank and some are low shank. What is important is the distance right here. Can everybody see how this is so much bigger than right here? Okay. Why does it matter? If you're just operating on the front and side of your foot, it really doesn't matter. It doesn't affect it. You can use any number of different thicknesses. However, if you want to do a circle, you are going to go all the way around that foot, okay? Which means if you don't have the space back here for 1/4 inch acrylic, like you don't right here, you won't make it all the way around. So let me show you what I'm talking about. There are 3 thicknesses of templates. We make the same shape in different thicknesses. This is 1/8 inch right here. This is the same thickness as your piecing rulers, okay? This is 3/16 and this is 1/4 inch. Now, to be quite frank, most people can tell the difference between 3/16 and 1/8 inch. Even I have trouble telling the difference between 3/16 and 1/4 inch, and I've been working with it a long time. So why does it matter? That's the low shank foot on 1/8 inch acrylic. You still have plenty of room for a fabric sandwich. Can everybody see that? All right. I'm not getting any no's or shaking the head, so that is 3/16 with a low shank foot. You are running out of room for your fabric sandwich. And that is 1/4 inch acrylic and a low shank foot. There is no room for your fabric sandwich. So this is why you have to be aware of what you're putting on your machine so you know which thickness to use for your machine. So you guys are at home. How do you tell yourself? Here's what I tell people to do. Put a fabric sandwich in there and do some stitching. Why do I want you to do some stitching? Not everybody's foot will go all the way down until you do some stitching. So I want you to do some stitching. Go into the needle down, have your needle down, and then get an 1/8 inch, one of your piecing rulers, and put it behind the ruler, right back here. Okay, that's the important part. Here, here, and here, it's not important. This is the important part right here. If you have plenty of room like I have here, then try a second piecing ruler, okay? 2 1/8 inch piecing rulers is the equivalent of 1/4 inch. If you have plenty of room, you know you can use 1/4 inch. If it's a little on the tight side, you might want to go to 3/16. And if after putting the first one in, you're like, yeah, I'm not even sure I can get another one in there, stick to 1/8 inch, okay? So as you can see, 2 1/8 inch ones are the same thickness as 1/4 inch. Okay. So now when you guys have all gone, I don't remember what she said. I remember she said something about that. Let me, hold on. I'm going to do this, I think. There we go. There we go. Quilters Rule has a YouTube channel, and all of the YouTubes are free. And I have a whole list of frequently asked questions. And what I just went over right then is this one right here. Which acrylic thickness do I need? So when you get home or you go and test your machine and you can't remember what I just said, go play the frequently asked questions. There's also they're in there about what is a ruler foot, okay? I've tried to put as many things that you guys ask about on a regular basis up where you can get to them easily. All right, let's go back to, what do I gotta do? Oh, share it. There we go. So what did we do? I knew people would have trouble remembering the different thicknesses. So Quilters Rule color-coded their templates. We color-coded our catalog. We also color-coded the booth floor in our show booth. So if it's green, it's 1/8 inch. And these are low shank machines. Just about every Pfaff machine and Viking machine that I know of is low shank. Most singers are low shank and should not go higher than 1/8 inch acrylic. Some brother machines will drop as low as 1/8 inch, and it has to do with the shaft more than the foot. Some low shank machines, some baby lock. I've had some baby locks have to drop down to 1/8 inch as well. So if your foot doesn't hop, you're probably safe on 1/8 inch acrylic, okay? But I tell people to find what works best for them. Just be safe. Some of the genomes drop down to 3/16. Blue or 1/4 inch. All long armors, regardless of whether you are a sit down or a stand up machine, you are high shank. All long armors are high shank. Never drop below 1/4 inch. Some high shank machines are 1/4 inch. Bernina recommends 1/4 inch for theirs. Baby Lock recommends 1/4 inch for theirs. Now, does that mean I have some people who use 3/16 on those tools? Yeah, they do. And I've been known to do it occasionally from time to time as well. It is what you are most comfortable about. I'm not a person who's going to say you must do it this way. I just want you to be safe and aware of what you have to be cautious about. So why are you not going to use a thin foot? I cannot stress this enough. The number of people who come to my booth saying, well, I have a quilting foot, I can use that. Really, don't do it. This is my I'll be careful moment. Men have hold your beer, my beer. Women have I'll be careful. Okay? So we there weren't enough Bernina ruler feet when they first came out with it, and I was demonstrating at Bernina U how to use the templates. And I'm not the most patient person in the world. They had 24 feet for every demonstrator and every class. I got 15 minutes with that foot. And for the rest of those 3 days, I was twiddling my thumbs. And I don't do that very well. So I said, I'll be careful. I drew it out first and I'll be careful. Okay. Can you start to see why there is an issue with this? Okay. But I was going to be careful. I can do this. I took out an inch chunk out of 1/4 inch acrylic. We never did. I found the piece, so I've long since lost that little piece, but we never did find the tip of the needle. If you use a thin foot with your templates, you are risking putting your machine out of time. I was very lucky and didn't, and all I did was break a template and break a needle. But you can do a lot of damage to your machine if your foot slides underneath your template. They are powerful machines, and they can do a lot of damage. So please, go ahead and go through the expense of getting the proper ruler foot for your machine. It sure as the heck beats having it put in for repairs. All right, let's talk about templates and why we make templates the way we do. I'm sure more than once you guys have gone, why are you guys doing this? We got into the habit, Quilters Rule nested templates together because I wanted each of those circles individually, sure. And you're going to pay for what's a $36 a $36 template, you're probably going to pay more like $300 for the same 11 templates. And that's in US dollars. So just think about converting it to pounds. So we nested our templates. Now, if you want solid templates, there's absolutely a way for you to get them, just not through Quilters Rules. There are other people who make them as solid templates. Now, the long armors can't get to the inside of this template. You on the home machines can get to the inside because you can raise and lower your foot. But long armors cannot raise and lower their foot. So could only work on these on the outside. So a little bit of math. Your foot is a 1/2 inch wide. Your needle is in the middle of that 1/2 inch foot. That means your needle is being kept a 1/4 inch away from the side of your template. Everybody follow that logic? All right.
Yeah.
So if I'm going around a 2-inch circle, what size circle am I going to complete? Am I going to stitch? What size is the stitch circle when you go around the outside of a 2-inch circle? 2.5 inches. Okay, everybody agree? Everybody see how you get that? Think about it as a seam allowance, okay? So if I want to stitch a 1-inch circle and I'm going down the outside of the circle, how big is my template? A 1/2 inch wide. That is a little tiny piece of template. It is smaller than my finger. That's a good way to put a needle through your fingernail. And while it doesn't hurt, it does scare the bejeebas out of you. So if I want small circles, I have to move to the inside. This opening of this circle is 1.5 inches. And so if I stitch on the inside, I'm going to stitch a 1-inch circle. Everybody see that? So so this does a 1-inch, that one's doing a 1/2 inch, that's doing, no, that's doing 3/4, that's doing 1/2 inch, and that's doing a 1/4 inch circle. So how do I get to the inside? Because long armors can't raise and lower your piece. And how do I get more than one circle out of it? Because I absolutely refuse to put out templates that do only one thing. This is the opening. This is the key. So you can bring your foot to the inside and then you can go from there. So when you take out the next circle, you turn your key to match your circle. Okay? That's how our inside circles work. That's how our inside ovals work as well. Anybody have any questions?
No.
All right, we'll go on. The other reason we move to the inside is to get a point. If you take that round foot around the point of a diamond, are you going to get a point? Never, never, ever, ever. Now, if you're one of those people who can go out and back and get a point and make it all look good, please don't tell me because I'd be intensely jealous. I've never been successful. So how do you get a point? That's what you're going to get when you go around that point. So how do you get a point? You need to be on the inside. You need to come to a stop and change your direction. So now you have choices, and this is where it comes in. What do you want to do? What can you do? What is the purpose of your quilting? Over here is a set of nested templates. These templates can be used for cutting, they can be used for drawing, they can be used for stitching around. But if you're a long armor, you're not going to get to the inside, okay? This template right here is what we call a template specifically designed for machine quilting. Why do we call it that? Because you can see how the foot nestles right down in here, okay? It's specifically designed for the 1/2 inch ruler foot. This one over here, yes, those of you on the home machine can come to the inside, but look at that gap. Will you create a diamond? Sure. You're absolutely going to create a diamond. It's just not going to be the same size as the opening, and you're going to slightly change it because this gap is much, much bigger than this gap on its side. It still creates a diamond. but it doesn't create the exact same diamond. Does that mean it can't be used? No. And there's disadvantages and advantages. This diamond, the nested one, is going to give you, if you can raise and lower your foot, a diamond on the inside with points and a diamond on the outside with rounded edges. Might be ideal for what you're doing. This one is just going to give you 4 diamonds on the inside. But because it has an access point, you can change your size of diamond without having to cut your thread. Okay, so you could put a diamond in, you could do some freehand, put in another diamond, change the size of the diamond, and never have to cut your thread. If you're working on the inside of this one, every single time you change the size of the diamond or you want to do some free motion, you're either working on the inside of this diamond or you're cutting your thread. Or you're going to put a slit into the diamond, but that will forever weaken that diamond. Okay, so you have options, and which one is best for you, that's entirely up to you. You get to make those decisions. I will just tell you what your options are. Okay, so any questions about making points? Are we good? All right. So here you can see how I make a point with the nested petal. You're going to want points. If you want hexagons and you want points, you need to be on the inside. If you want octagons and you want points, you need to be on the inside. Stars on the inside. And of course, we're in the middle of our spider web season, and absolutely, you have to be on the inside. So the same for pentagons. Now, the tools that have points, they work slightly different than the circles and the ovals, because a point is a point is a point. It doesn't matter if it's a point on a 1-inch or a 2-inch or a 3-inch. So instead of turning a key, simply raise the point each time. Okay? So that's how those work. Now, here are some other things that you might want to consider for your templates. Especially if you already have templates, you have some of our older templates or somebody else's. Acrylic is slippery. It doesn't like to grip onto fabric. So you might want to get grip dots, sandpaper dots, skater's tape, whatever makes you happy. Now, we don't have, right now, my new tools, they've been out since COVID. During COVID, we learned we learned how to put fabric gripping action coating on the back of our templates. So our new templates that are printed in 4-color come with a fabric gripping action coating. Amanda Murphy's has a non-slip. Alex Anderson's has something similar to ours that just puts a yellow tint on it. And Angela Walters uses the same creative grid stuff. Nobody else has got stuff on their back. Now you can use this, or you can use Grippy. And I absolutely love Grippy, and I know Quilt Direct carries it. The biggest problem is you have issues with how you can ship it to you guys. But this stuff is great. Works on piecing rulers, works on a wide variety of tools. I still use it even though my tools have fabric gripping action on them, because I've been known to flip my tool from one side to the other. So think about this. I can make you a template that puts a feather to the left, and I can make you a template that makes a feather to the right. Or you can just flip the one that goes to the left over and it's now on the right. And I just believe in giving you more templates, not that do different things, not templates that are going to do the same thing. So I just flip my templates a lot. So the Grippy is great. I highly recommend it. You might want to get some stencils. If you're working in a pieced block, you're going to have the seams that you can rotate around a block to create a design. If it's a blank block, there's no lines there. So you can use rulers. I just got lazy and got tired of using rulers, so I had a stencil made. And this is an 8-point stencil. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. This is a 6-point stencil. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you'll see why we use them. It aligns when you're creating a rotate around the block, which is a template technique video I just put up a couple weeks ago. Some people love gloves. I'm not a big fan of them personally because I have rheumatoid arthritis in my hands and they just get too hot. These were the only ones I ever used. And once we got fabric gripping action on the back of our templates, I found I didn't need them anymore. So I didn't worry about it. But some people swear by gloves. This is absolutely positively a necessity, either a supreme slider, a sew slip, a glider. There's lots of options, but what it is, it's like putting an oil slick on your machine. This lets the fabric move easily over your machine. And it just makes a world of difference, especially if you consider you're going to be pressing down on the fabric so that the template doesn't move. So just making it easier to move your fabric, an absolute godsend. So I highly recommend either a slider or a sew slip or a glider. You want to get your quilt under control. Now, I will freely admit to you, I do a lot of smaller designs, mainly because I'm doing them for demos and I don't want to use a big piece for demonstration. But I have done wall hangings and I will even do a lap quilt on my small machine. So when you do, you want to get them under control. So you wrap it up so that only the portion you're working on has got is in your sewing area. Okay. So you want to be able to do that. Now there's lots of options for quilt clips. This is just a sample. You can use banana clips, clothespins. There's lots of options, but get it under control. Weightless quilters might be the ideal thing you want. And you can create your own. This is just basically clamps on the end of a stick, and you're just getting the weight off the quilt off your machine. You don't want the quilt pulling you one direction when you want to go the other direction. Find what works best for you. Now, these are my design grids, and people ask me all the time, how did you know that design was in there? Well, I didn't. If I knew that, I probably would be a much better freehand quilter, and I'm not. To be quite frank, I almost never know what's going to come out when I do this. So I started playing just on paper, and then I got tired of drawing in the lines on the paper, so we made the design grids. There's a block grid and a whole cloth grid, and I use dry erase pens. Now, you can use whiteboards. You can get clear vinyl from your local store. Whatever works best for you. I just like the lines in there because I can't eyeball it myself. I use those lines. So when I do that, I'm using this dry erase pen, and this is a template tester. But let's go further. You can see, having created the design, I can now preview it on my quilt and decide if that's what I want it to look like. So this is a set of block grids. This is my favorite. This is my whole cloth because, well, it turns out I'm a whole clother in reality. The template testers, now I left a bunch with Elizabeth, so she should have these. These I give away when you buy templates from me, and that's why I left them with her. These, you use an automatic or a mechanical pencil, and that hole, this is imitating your foot. So you can, people, I know a lot of people go home with the templates and they go, I'm going to do this. And hold on just a minute, I'm gonna stop share. So you go home and you've got this template and you're going, tomorrow, I'm going to organize my thread first. Okay. I was that way when I wanted to do lace knitting. I'm going to do this, and I just put it aside. And pretty soon you're going to put this away in a drawer and you're never going to use this again. And I don't want you to do that. I want you to use this. So you take the template tester and you take a piece of paper and you play on paper, okay? Or you play on the design grids. But you need that template tester because if you were to draw right here, that's not what the template will do. Okay, you want your stitch line to be in the middle there. That's why the template tester is there. So then the next time, you're stuck somewhere and you don't want to be in front of the TV, and how can there's share? You don't want to be in front of the TV and you want to go play in your sewing room, but somebody's going to get upset if you do. Go get your piece of paper, go get a template and a template tester and a pencil and play on paper. This is the best way to get comfortable with your template. So here you can see how Inside that 1.5 inch opening, there is the 1 inch circle. Yes, Maggie, that's it. Exactly. All right. So when you use the tube template tester with the dry erase pen, now those I do sell because we make the template testers out of scrap. That's why we give those away free. The tube template testers, we have to buy the raw material, so that's why there's a charge. These work great on the dry erase pens, and you can use them that way. All right, so that is our website. I'm going to go to people ask me what templates to begin with. I'm getting close here. I always recommend a straight line tool. This is a quilt. There's a Facebook page out there called Quilting with Rulers. It drives me up the wall because it's quilting with templates, but I digress. Look at this. This is all straight lines, and you can just see how this absolutely made this quilt. It is just, without the straight lines, it would be much, much different looking quilt. And so I got permission from the person who posted this, and because it's an excellent example of straight line quilting. And straight lines aren't nearly as easy as they look. So I always recommend a straight line tool. And then this is what I do with them because I get bored and I want to welcome you to my world of what happens if I do this with that. So I learned how to do the squares and I went, well, what happens if I do them on a hexagon or an octagon or inside a diamond or triangles? And, for those of you old enough, it's string art. It works great. Okay. Circles are the next thing I recommend because circles are more than just circles. So this is an example of going around the block. This is why I would use a block grid. This is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I rotated the circle around the block using my 6-point grid. Here I'm sliding it. This is just a string of pearls. This is interlocking. And look at them. They're circles. They're not ovals. They're not misshapen blobs. They're circles. The templates provide you a pathway for your foot to follow. They give you repeatability and consistency, and it makes all the difference in the world. How many times have you heard somebody for a border design, just do ease, right? Just do ease. Well, that's 3/4 of a circle. There's your ease. 3/4 of a circle slid down a border. There's another example of circles. You inside or outside, whatever works best for you. All you need for waves is a portion of a circle, okay? Flipped across a center line. You have a wealth of waves inside of circles. This is a pointed leaf oval. Now, everybody, what's the difference? The same tool did both designs, okay? But one is square and one is circular. What's the difference? 2 different sizes. This is a large one. This is a small one. Why does it matter? Well, this one is going to fill a square more, and this one is going to leave space out here that you could maybe do some embellishment work in, or you could put some feathers in, whatever makes you happy, okay? It's just a difference in how it's going to look. This is, again, me bored. I was at a show, I was bored, so I started playing with the same template to create the different look. Okay, I can go through this. I want to briefly touch on how we move templates. Now, I am literally running out of time here. So I want to take you to just a quick example of how to move templates and what we can do. If you guys all want to do another Zoom, I will take you through this one a lot slower and a lot more explanation. So this is a 4-point grid, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a simple heart on the outside. So I'm stitching around the outside. I rotate my template to the next axis and stitch again. Rotate and stitch again. Rotate and again. Okay, so there's my design. For those of you who might want to do some embellishment work, you could come in and do some micro stippling. You could use this as a spine for feathers. I'm not going to do that because in my household, freehand is a four-letter word, never to be spoken. Mainly because when I try to do it, I start using them. So I'm going to add four more lines in here, the diagonals. And now this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-point grid. Does everybody see that? And I'm going to put the other four in. And away we go. Looky there. Nice design. Think it might go somewhere? So there's the 8-point. There it is stitched. And here's the 6-point real quick, so you can see the difference. There's the 6-point design. There's the 4-point. There's the 6-point. There's the 8-point. One template just gave you 3 designs, and trust me, there's a lot more in there. So let me briefly go to, so this is
Just whilst you, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
no problem.
I know the answer to this question, but so that you just let everybody know about whether there are videos on YouTube for all these templates.
Yeah, I do not have all of the templates on the videos, okay? I have a lot of them on there. But let me go to here and share this. So as I said, we have frequently asked questions up at the top. And then I've started, normally the playlists are put up there in the order I've been doing them. So there are a lot of videos up there and they're all free. Okay, I have started a new series that I'm not sure has been separated out into a playlist yet. So
Also
it's
on
called
a
Template Technique Tip. And so going around the block, rotating around the block, that's how I did those designs. And that's what that's all about.
That's great. Also, on most of the products on our website, we've added your videos as well, or it's on your website, isn't it?
Yeah, and these three right here, Charlie, are new. This is the
They look good.
that's the Calico Kitten one that, are you guys seeing this?
Yep.
Good. And let me get you to the wand out, so turning it around show you and resetting it in here. You have your curved edge. This is the smallest size. Take out this size, take your tool up one. All right. So you can see how I will show you how to do these. I give you all kinds of different, I try to show you lots of different ways to do things. I give you tips on some of the fills and I show you all the different, I try to show you block designs and border designs. And you know, what normally happens is sometimes when I find new designs in a quilt, in a piece, I will come back and do another one for you guys. So that's why the tree has got 3 different videos and the pointed leaf oval has 2 videos right now because people asked, how do I do something? So I make a video for you guys. We are also on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and we try to put out a reel a week. So let me open this up to questions, and then we can go back to other things as we're answering that. Hold on, how do I get back to,
I think questions wise, Patricia, I think you've answered so far everything that everybody wants to know. So you can carry on your trail.
Okay, as soon as I figure out how to get back. Hi guys. And I want to, if in the end you decide that this is not for you, I highly recommend if right on your machine, you can always use them to draw around. Again, remember your foot and adjust for that. And if any of you are hand quilters, this is, there you guys, can you guys see that? Kind of hard to see. This is hand quilted. And I drew the design using the bird template. So what I want to make sure you guys know is use what's best for you. Find what works best for you. Because what works for one person isn't going to work for the other person. What I see in designs and in templates is not what you're going to see. And so what I really want you to envision is my theory of what happens if I use this technique with that tool. If you can see behind me, I've started a whole new series of classes that are called Not Your Grandmother's Whole Cloth. And that's the direction I'm going right now. I don't think I can get any closer in there, and it's not the best in the world. So let's go back for a little while. Unless somebody has an question, let me go back to where I was on rotate. There we go. Let's go with those. All right. So as I said, this is a 4-inch hexagon. This is an 8-point rotate around the block. This is a 6-point rotate around the block. You see how you get a different look. This is the octagon. This is the 8-point, and this is the 6-point. Okay. This is a simple S shape. This is my inside S shape. So you can see how just rotating around the block creates that design. We already talked about that one. There's ovals. These are all the same size. To fill a block, rotate is the one that you're going to use the most. So this one is a square design, again using ovals. The difference is the large oval on the diagonal, the smaller oval on the crosshairs. So these are the diagonals, and this is the crosshairs. Okay. This is my teardrop design. I have lots of fun with it. Again, it's a square design. It has a total of 3 different sizes. So I used the small and the medium on the crosshair and the medium and the large on the diagonals. It's the closest I'm going to get to a butterfly. But hey, I got to it. This is the teardrop as well on an 8-point grid, all 3 sizes. Now, that's going to put a lot of thread right through the middle here, okay? And, you know, I don't care. I like the design. If it bothers me too much, that's what a button or a yo-yo is for. So now, we'll take that same heart and we're going to rotate it again, but this time I'm going to use the valley of the heart instead of the outside of the heart, the tip of the heart. And we're just going to rotate around. And voila, there's your 4th design using one template. That was the 4-point. This is the 8-point. Every other day, I love it, and every other day, I find it too busy. So you can even see how sometimes it works for you and sometimes it doesn't. All right. So let's talk about the flip method. And you use that for your feathers, okay? When you do a right feather and you flip it to your left feather, you're creating a mirror image, okay? Everybody see the flip? So what I've done, you can get different flips. You can have your mirror image in different spots. In this case, my mirror is right here, running along the side and to the tip. Now, note that I have shown this again. This is being used on the outside. So my template is 1/4 of an inch from the center. If you were to put that template on the center, your stitch line would go over the center. You have to be aware and you have to remember to keep your template 1/4 of an inch away from where you want your stitch line. So now I'm going to flip the template and do 3/4 of a design. And I get to play Pictionary again. I just need my tools. So you take that whole design and rotate the whole design. Does everybody see? Isn't that a lovely design? Now, can everybody see the red here? It's red there because I'm doing some backtracking or double stitching there in order for it to be continuous line. Okay? As it is here, it is not continuous line. I would be stopping up here and I need to be down here. So I do the backtracking. And this was all right and good, but it's been driving me up the wall because the S shape, I wanted a point on it. And again, how do we get a point? We move to the inside. Okay? So now I did it and I wanted to go along and do this one. And it worked and I liked it. It was really nice. But let me tell you, flipping it and flipping it and it was a pain in the butt. It was really a pain in the butt. So I said, there's got to be an easier way to do this. So I decided to just go all the way around and then flip it. and go all the way around. Now it changes the design slightly because I did the whole thing, not just 3/4. But it made all the difference in the world. Come back here. Okay. And I decided that it was worth it. That was much, much easier. And this is where you're going to decide, is it worth the effort or is it not worth the effort? And that's entirely your decision and your design, you know. And sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't. Circles, like I said, circles are absolutely great for a wide variety of designs, and you're going to slide your design. Slide is the one you're going to use the most for border designs. Okay, we're going to slide down the border, simple scallop. Go to the other side of your border and come back. You have your very own pointed ovals and diamonds. You can change the look depending on what size you use, whether you're using ovals versus circles, how deep into the circle you go. It's your decision now what you're going to make. You have the control. And for somebody like me who doesn't sew the straightest in the world, so my borders tend to be less than straight, being able to adjust my template for my border is absolutely wonderful. Stencils can't be adjusted. Templates can be adjusted. This is that captured foot rope design that Catherine has. Where did Elizabeth come from? Catherine has. The nice thing about this, the dependent template was designed to do this, okay? And there's backtracking involved to be able to get the design continuous line, but it works and it works very nicely. If you don't do the backtracking, now you have this lovely running S shape. Or for those of us who remembered the Partridge Family, you now have the Partridge Family tune going through your head. And you may or may not have seen those, but it was a TV series back in the 1970s. And I just dated myself. You use, this is a portion of just a template. The template wasn't designed, I didn't plan the template with this design in mind. I had a customer come to me wanting this design, and I didn't have a template to do it. But then I thought about it for a while, and I did have a template to use it. I'm just not going to use the whole template. I'm just going to use 3/4 of it and slide the template. Okay, so you don't have to use the whole template. You can use a portion of the template to create your design. So now, talking about sliding, both of these designs were created using this template. This one is a lot closer together. This one is further apart. Look at the distance I'm going to slide here. That's why it's further apart. When I'm up here for this one, I'm only sliding a little different distance. That's why it's so much close together. So now you can see how you can change the look depending on where you start and stop. Is that making sense to everybody? All right. So let's go back to that S shape and let's slide it down the border. Now, if you'll notice, I've got this red line here. And that is because, again, I'm double stitching. I tried many times when I have a point, I will go from one side to the other and then I will come back and cross over. Only I couldn't ever make this work right. So I treated this one like I treat my circles. And I do one complete circle or one complete S shape and half again. And then I slide my template. Okay? So, nice enough design, right? Looks pretty good. Flip the template over and go back. What do you think?
Beautiful.
I can't stress enough to play with your templates. What I see in a template and what you see in a template are two totally different things. So this is interlocking chains. There's a template technique tip on interlocking chains and how to create different designs. This is what I call variations on a theme. So this is a little leaf and down, a little leaf and down, and this is my pointed leaf oval. It's the third template in my starter set. And I find it turned out to be the most versatile of tools. There is just a wealth of designs in there. That's why there's a 16-page instruction sheet and 2 videos on it. Now, take a look at this design right here. And can you see how if you flip it on the diagonal, it becomes this design? Does everybody see that? Okay, so I went all the way down. When I got down to the border, I just did the reverse back up to create it. Change your shapes, change your sizes, and you have a wealth of designs. So the last movement method is twist. For twisting it, we are going to keep the centers of my template and the center of my block on top of each other at all times. Okay, so we're going to go all the way around my S shape. We're going to twist it, and voila, I turn a sunflower into a chrysanthemum daisy. Okay, now take a look at this. I'm getting points, come back here. I'm getting points down here, and I'm getting rounded edges out here. See the difference? All right, so then let's take this daisy, and we're going to go all the way around the daisy. And then we're going to twist it. And now we have twisted ribbons. Simple and easy. There is a wealth of designs in your template, and you can create all kinds of designs. Now, I can create a longer program that will go through a lot more of the templates. Not tomorrow. If you guys are interested in more, another Zoom class that is just on how to move the templates, we can do that as well.
I think that I'd definitely be interested, Patricia. It's been a brilliant demonstration because although I've watched you work many times, how you've put it together on this Zoom has been brilliant.
Okay.
I think we'd definitely like to do something again. I hope everyone else does.
Charlie, did you guys put the instruction sheets on your website as well?
Website. We put links, I believe. I will just be careful not to incriminate myself on that one.
Okay. They are available directly on our website. Do buy from Quilt Direct because I'm not going to ship to England or the EU because they want me to buy a tax license over there, and I refuse.
Yeah.
So you need to get all of the stuff from Quilt Direct. And if there's something that they don't have or they don't carry on a regular basis, just plan a little bit longer time because she'll be able to bring it over.
Yeah, just ask us if there's anything that you'd want. Patricia, there's been a lot of comments on here saying that yes, please, to something else. So we'll get our heads together in the next few weeks to get something else on. As you said, your full range is available on the website. We're pretty well stocked, but if anything is out of stock, just click the notify me when back in stock. And we will, as promised, then send you an email when they do come back in. Patricia and her team are brilliant at turning things around and getting things to us quickly. We are sending out a follow-up email with a discount voucher so everybody can do shopping for the rest of their evening.
We have come out with 5 new tools that I introduced at market, and they are the frond feathers and the heirloom feathers. So next time Charlie has them, I will make sure she at least gets a sample of them if she doesn't place an order for
For sure. I'll be on your case about that, Patricia.
Yeah, I haven't, to be quite frank, they only got them at Festival. They're not even on my website yet because I sold out at Festival. So we have them
Too good, too good.
And we'll go
Anybody got any questions before we round it off?
I've got other things to ask you, Charlie, but I'll give you a call during the week.
Okay.
Any questions you have for me after the fact, just send them to Charlie and Charlie will forward them on to me.
100%. Patricia, it's been lovely to see you.
Nice seeing you guys too.
Thank you.
Take care. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Thank you.